By now you must be well aware about how the revolutionary wars in France brought losses and economic difficulties to the people. Later on, we find that how in the Constitution of 1791, it gives political rights only to the richer section of society. The poor society was not privileged by such political rights. As a result of which, there were various political clubs which were established by the people who wished to discuss government policies and plan their own forms of action. This was the time when they find that with their own self government policies, they can make their own forms of action against the monarchy. Among this, the most successful of these clubs was that of the Jacobin. The members of the Jacobin club belong mainly to the less prosperous sections of society, such as small shopkeepers, artisans, as well as servants and daily wage workers. These were the people who were not given any kind of privileges due in France. Their leader was Maximilien Robespierre. Jacobins start wearing long striped trousers and came to be known as the sans-culottes, which literally means those without knee breeches. We find that in the summer of 1792, the Jacobins planned a revolt of a large number of people of Paris who were angered by the short supplies and the high prices of food. Children, we all are facing right now the COVID-19, where we find that at times we face the situation of short supplies of food items as well as high prices of food which are available to us. On August 10, they stormed the palace of the Tuileries, massacred the king's guard, and held the king himself as hostage for several hours. We find here that the general public had no faith in the king as well as his policies. As a result of which, we find that they took all the action in their own way, and as a result of which they had killed the king's guard and they have themselves held the king as a hostage, and that was only for several hours only. Later, the assembly voted to imprison the royal family. Elections were held. Now there was a change in the election. What was the change? From now, all men of 21 years and above, regardless of wealth, got the right to vote. This was a major change. Now, the newly elected assembly was called the convention. As a result of which, on 21st September 1792, it abolished the monarchy. Monarchy means the king ruled, Louis XVI ruled, and France declared himself a republic. Louis XVI was sentenced to death by a court on the charge of treason. Treason means that he was not loyal to his country and people. His queen, Mary, met with the same fate shortly after some time. As a result of which, we find that when all the people united together and they are united together so that they could make their country where they can make their own policies, where there was no discrimination, everyone was equal, as it was stated previously also in the Declaration of Men and Rights. Children, during the previous lectures, we have seen that French Revolution was nothing but a series of interrelated and revolutionary steps to overthrow the monarch. The French Revolution witnessed the darkest time in history during the years 1793 to 1794, called as the Reign of Terror. The Reign of Terror was a dark and a violent period of time during the French Revolution. Radicals took control of the revolutionary government. They arrested and executed anyone who they suspected might not be loyal to the revolution. Now the question arises, what were the situation or the circumstances that led up to the terror? The French Revolution had begun 4 years earlier with the storming of the Bastille. Since then, the government had been in constant state of change. By 1973, we witnessed that the revolutionary government was in crisis. France was being attacked by foreign countries on all sides and civil war was breaking out in many regions. Radicals led by Maximilien Robespierre took over the government and started the Reign of Terror. The Reign of Terror. The period from 1793 to 1794 is referred to as the Reign of Terror, as Robespierre followed a policy of severe control and punishment. All his enemies, ex-nobles, clergy, members of other political parties, even members of his own party who did not agree with his methods were arrested, imprisoned and guillotined. Robespierre's government issued laws placing a maximum ceiling on wages and prices. Meat and bread were rationed. Peasant means the farmers, were forced to transport their grain to cities and sell it at price fixed by the government. The use of more expensive white flour was forbidden and all the citizens were required to eat the equality bread, a bread which is a loaf made up of whole wheat. Instead of the traditional monsieur and madame, monsieur means sir, and madame means madam, all French men and women were addressed as citoyen and citoyenne. Churches were shut down and their buildings converted into barracks or offices. Robespierre pursued his policies so harshly that even his supporters began to demand moderation. Finally, he was convicted by a court in July 1794, arrested and on the next day sent to guillotine. Now what is guillotine? Guillotine is a device consisting of two poles and a blade with which a person is beheaded. It was named after Dr. Guillotine who invented it.